Vinyl community, I'm back to do a recent vinyl finds video and also tell you sort of a story. So we'll start with the story and then move on to the vinyl. It's like this: a co-worker of mine contacted me. So hopefully you think this is cool. Otherwise, just skip ahead to the records. A co-worker approached me, and he knew I was dealing with records, and I collected vinyl, and he's a friend of mine. So he said that his mom and dad are very sick, and they are in need of money. As I mean, life is hard, and money is tight. So and he knew that he had some records in his attic, his dad. So he just asked me if I could go to their place and take a look at it, and if I wanted, I could buy it because they needed the money, or else just tell them what to do with it. So we get there, and it's 800 records, like 14 boxes of records. So we spent 2 days just digging through the entire thing, every single record, and I actually compiled them into categories: $10 records, $30 records, $50 records, and just like $1 records, like shit, and put them in different piles, different boxes. And after that, because I decided that I don't want to buy the entire collection, because I couldn't give them anything. I didn't know exactly what the entire thing was worth, and I didn't want to rip them off because he's a friend of mine. But then again, I didn't want to recommend a record store buying it from them, because the record store would rip them off. And they are too sick to do the eBay dance, kind of putting out records on eBay and stuff like that. And if we went with all the boxes to a auction house, they would probably go for next to nothing for each box. So what we decided was that we started a project. So I brought all the records home, 800 records with me home, and I'm gonna sell them for them. So I sorted them out, and 1/3 of the 800 records I'm going to sell on eBay, Swedish eBay. So one record at a time, putting it all out for $5 starting price. And I've sorted them out, so I know that they should go for at least $5. The 2/3 of it I'm just putting in boxes, and they go to an auction house in different bulks, so we get the most of it. This way, in my opinion, they will get as much as they can out of the records. I get 30% of everything I sell. So if I drive a box to an auction house, just leave it there, and we get $100 for it, I will get $30. If we sell a record for $10 and I take a photo, I write all the information down, I do the grading, I clean it if it's needed. We sell it for $10, I get $3, and then I have to ship it, pack it, and receive the money for it. A lot of work, a lot of work. But if we get $50 for a record, I get 30%. So you know the deal. My thought is that this has to be the best kind of deal and way to go about doing this. So they earn as much as they can, and I do it without me getting ripped off, if you know what I mean. But 800 records, obviously there is stuff that I want in my collection. And he bought his records in the 80s, so there's a lot of like 60s and 70s material, but reissued in the 80s, or 80s records. No grail, nothing like that at all. It's just like, I mean, it's the Doors reissue, Lotus, Original Press, Santana, Bruford, Genesis, and this is the good shit of the 800 records. So I picked out maybe 40 records out of the collection, up to this date at least. Some Pink Floyd that I needed in my collection, and some Creedence, and Hawkwind, and some other stuff that I needed. And what I'm doing is, when I get my 30% from the selling, I like give them the money, and then I write off records as we go. So I'm still giving them the price that it would be valued at, and maybe a little less, because I'm doing all the work. So I'm getting a good deal from me on the records. But I want to do this like in a fair way. So that's the thing. And after I've paid my records off, then it's just profit for me, and I can take that money and buy other records. So that's the plan. But it's gonna take maybe 6 months to do this, at least 6, 8, 9 months. I've sold 70 records in 2 months now, I think, and I have maybe 230 more to sell just on eBay. So a lot of work. So that's a little bit of a story for you. This is going to be a long video. I'm so sorry. So showing records, yeah, but please comment on that sort of project, because it's nothing. I've never like heard anyone do that before. It's like a consultant, is that the word? Like a vinyl consultant. I mean, I've been collecting for 19 years and I know some stuff from 19 years. So valuing a collection like that and knowing what stuff goes for and what to do with it, it's sort of like comes with the job of collecting, and not buying it for yourself and ripping the person off, but trying to get as much out of it as possible, but not doing yeah, you know the deal. So please comment. So a lot of people has contacted me because I put an ad on Facebook, and I went to an old DJ's house to dig through his own collection. He was in bad need of money, and the hash smoke in the room was dense. Let's just put it that way. And he had such a killer stereo equipment, possibly a $50,000 kind of equipment, insane. But I dug through his collection and I bought some stuff for $2 each, and some stuff I bought a little more, but I'm showing that later on. Bill Aswell, Material and Friends, best of, $2. This is a wild ride. Experimental kind of electronic jazz. If you know Bill Aswell, you know how this sounds like. Very demanding of the listener, but if you take the time, well worth it. He also had this in sort of near mint condition. Jimmy Smith at Club Baby Grand Volume 1 on Blue Note Records, and this is actually a ordinary Blue Note. Everything about this record smells and feels like a mid-70s reissue, but the only information I can find about it is that it adds up to a 1966 reissue of it. So a very early pressing in near mint condition for $2. Couldn't refuse that. Another Bill Laswell, also for $2, was Baselines. This is a rough trade press. Once again, wild ride. Check it out if you're interested in that. An online purchase, and I went a little bit crazy. I found this, and the guy had a bunch of very affordable kind of Blue Note records. So I ended up buying 10 records, I think, and 8 of them were Blue Note records, spanning from pressings from 1975, I think, and forward. So one of them was this kind of 75 anniversary kind of press. But the one that I really wanted and that made the whole deal was Paul Tovsen, Jon Christensen, Terje Rydahl, and Arild Andersen, No Time for Time, from 1977. Really good, wild, almost fusiony jazz record with 2 drummers. Paul Tovsen played with Moose Loose, the Norwegian band, and Jon Christensen, everyone knows from ECM. This looks like an ECM record, but it's much more out there. Very kind of fun in its approach, and with the 2 drummers almost battling with each other. Terje Rydahl's fantastic guitar playing over it. This is a wild ride. check it out if you're a jazz fan. It's often priced at maybe $40, something like that. But I've waited for a year. I think I added it to my want list a year ago for the right moment. So I paid less than $20 for it. I'm glad I waited, but yeah. So when this box came out, I was so furious that I didn't buy it. And then the reissues came out, and I was like hesitant because I didn't have the money at the time. And then 1, 2, 3, everyone was gone. So I managed to find here in Sweden a copy of Shades of Blue with Don Rendell and Ian Carr's Quintet from 1965 on Jazzman recordings. This pressing is done perfectly. Like, the sound quality of this is just to die for. Dead quiet, very separated. The instruments are so separated and dynamic, but still warm in the sound. I can't even imagine this sounding any better on even an original press. This was remastered at Abbey Road Studios, who also did the Zombies reissues, which I think sounds just okay. This sounds perfect. So I'm looking for Duskfire, and I can't find it anywhere without buying it on Discogs for overpriced, and shipping goes to hell, and you know the deal. So I don't know if Jazz Masters, was that the name of it? Fuck it. If they are going to reissue the entire catalog once again, because they sell out like that, and I mean, it's still in demand. So if you're doing a reissue and a remaster in Abbey Road Studios, putting that money down, I can imagine that they don't want to ride on the sort of the jazz train that they created with the reissues. So, but I don't know. The Blue Note records, I bought 8, and then I bought the Norwegian record, No Time for Time, but I lacked this in my Miles collection, so this is the sort of the 10th record that I bought from that pile. Someday My Prince Will Come, Miles Davis Sextet with John Coltrane, Hank Mobley, Wendell Kelly, Paul Chambers, and Jimmy Cobb. Classic record with a killer cover, obviously. And I mean, the title track is okay. I think it's a good song, but the second side, in my opinion, is the real deal here. On the Columbia Red label, I think it's maybe mid-70s, early 70s reissue, something like that. So my mom works as a hairdresser, and she cut the hair of a lady, and they talked about music, and she said that she had a pile of records at home. So I went there, dug it through, and actually found a copy of Jazz Under Midnight Sun by Lars Lystad Sextet. One of the classic Swedish jazz records, top 25 any day of the week. And this is actually the second press on Interdisc. The first press was issued on Swedish, I think, and in high demand, $100 and up. And this is a $30, $40, $50 record maybe in this condition. So I'm actually having that for sale in my Discogs for sale pile list, whatever you want to call it. Try to see if I can get some money for it, because I bought it really cheap. The kind of hash smoking guy, let's just call him that, the DJ guy who let me dig through his collection. He needed money. Had this, so I bought this for $2. George Clinton, You Shouldn't Not Bit Fish, from like 85, 7, something like that. So I had high hopes for this. I just thought, like, it's George Clinton, what can go wrong? $2 easy, like, and it sucks. It's really, really bad. I don't enjoy this at all. And you have Bootsy Collins on this. You have Maceo Parker playing sax. Eddie Hazel playing guitar. I love Eddie Hazel, but that's just like, really awful. $2 also. Material, Bill Laswell again. Red tracks in sort of like near mint condition. Unbelievable, like $2. And they are not expensive. So if you are if you're after like interesting, highly demanding sort of modern take on jazz, where they really experiment and I don't know if I want to call it jazz really. It's in a universe of its own. But yeah, invest in those records because they don't cost that much, but it's really, really cool music. So the guy had some reissues also in his own collection, and he was a little bit on the fence on if he wanted to sell them. So I said, give me a price, and almost all the reissues that I ended up buying from him, I got for $10 each, and some for $5 really. And this was one of them. Nada Surf's High and Low from like late 90s maybe. I really don't know. I didn't buy this for the music because I don't think that this is a good record. I just bought it because I thought that I could make some money back on this. This is a Vinyl Me Please edition. So he had a subscription for Vinyl Me Please, and that's just insane because here in Europe the price for the shipping for being on that subscription is just, yeah, so high. So he maybe had like 6 records before he ended the subscription on his own, and the only one that he really wanted from the subscription that he got was the score by Fugees. So he didn't want to sell that. Otherwise I would buy that too for $10. But $10, Nada Surf. So that's on my Discogs sell page. See if I can make some money on that. But this one is a keeper. Big Bill Bronzes sings folk songs on Folkways, but this is the Vinyl Me Please number 38 in the series with all the good stuff, the book and you know the stuff. And it actually came with, or that month they sent out vinyl cuts from the HBO series soundtrack. So I put the single in this because it was with this that month's subscription. Sound quality on that record is fantastic. It's really highly recommended if you're into gold blues and folk music. It's a no-brainer. I bought this for $5 because he didn't think it was good and I didn't know what it was. So I said I can give you $5 for it. And it's been played once, but now it's been played like 5 times because I love this record. Preservation Hall Jazz Band, that's it, from a couple of years ago, 13. And this is 11 original compositions produced by Jim James of My Morning Jacket, and includes a full-size poster and all that good stuff. But this is jazz from New Orleans. So when I put this on, it just really made me travel to when I saw Treme, that series, HBO series. I love the music on that. It's really that sort of, I imagine at least, the New Orleans kind of sound. I don't know if it's like Dixie, but very like soulful, happy jazz music. You just smile, and when you put this on, it's just like that. So if you want to listen to one song from this, I recommend Rattling Bones. Really good. And I played that maybe 5 times already. Great sound quality. Excuse me, my ex was calling. She can wait. Recording this on the phone. The Rump Roller. One of the Blue Note records that I bought from the batch, that I knew that I really wanted. I think this is my first Lee Morgan record, but with Joe Henderson, Ronnie Matthews, which he plays piano on this, really good piano playing, like nothing special really, but just the perfect kind of touch, really swinging kind of piano, with that sort of like perfect ending on the keys. It's just, yeah, you have to listen to it. Listen to the song Rump Roller. Yeah, the Rump Roller, to get what I'm saying about the piano. Victor Sproles and Billy Higgins on drums. Classic, and this is 1975, maybe 3 or 5 reissue of this record from 1965, I think. Moving back to the hash guy, and all the Bill Laswell records that I bought. I'm not gonna pull this out, but Yeah, he had this also, $2, Marion Brown's Porto Novo on Arista Freedom, reissue 1975 on Arista Freedom, but originally released in '68, I think, with a different cover. This is a free jazz record. It's Marion Brown. He blows the hell out of this session, and I definitely haven't heard Marion Brown play as good as he does on this one, because I'm not a huge of the stuff the small stuff that I've heard with Marion Brown. I'm not a huge fan, but this just blew me away. But the really great stuff on this is Han Benning's drumming. It's from another world, and it's definitely the best drumming I've heard him play. And I've heard some Han Benning, but I've never heard him play this joyful and playful and really like highly diverse, using everything that he has on the kit. It's improvised, spontaneous, and fantastic. Really, really good. So if you're a free jazz fan, or even just a drum fan, Porto Novo by Marion Brown, check it out. I bet you won't be disappointed. Okay, so a singer-songwriter guy that everyone needs to hear. And my prediction is that he's going to be huge. If he wants, he's going to be huge. This is Daniel Nordgren. He's a Swedish singer-songwriter. And he's been on the sort of the circuit for 10 years, maybe. But he's still like sort of an underground kind of guy, I think, at least. And this is the Greenstone from 2015. Gatefold and all that good stuff. He released 2 records in 2015. I have them both. This has a song called Are We Running Out of Love, which is great, but I Waited for You is the song to check out. He sings in English, very sort of almost Tom Waitsy kind of sound to it. It's hard to describe really. It's and unfair to describe his kind of approach to the music and his way of singing, but highly recommended. And I actually almost started to cry when I heard that the first time, because he sings with such a depth, and he really lives the music. So fantastic. $10 from the Hash guy. This is also $10 for from the Hash guy. And when I saw this, I asked him, like, "Are you selling this?" And he had, he also had, Your Flights also. So I wanted to buy them both. So he said, "Nah, I'm not selling that. You have to give me a really good price for them, or this," because he didn't want to sell Your Flights. That was his favorite, but he could part with this. So so you have to really give me a good price for it. And I said, "You have to put a price on it, because I won't give you a price." And he said, "Okay, give me $10." So yeah, $10 for Alice in Chains, music on vinyl, played once, in perfect condition, sounds fantastic. This is high fidelity stuff. Like, if you play this, if you own this, you know what I'm talking about. But it has got a lot of praise online for the kind of high fidelity quality of this, and they use the same etchings or stampers or whatever the fuck it's called for the original from 1996 as they did on this reissue from 2010, because it has the exact same matrix numbers, and so that's the general public sort of theory, at least, of it. Sounds perfect, and what a fantastic record it is. Another blue note from the batch that I got was A Caddy for Daddy, Hank Mobley reissue from 2015 or 12 or something like that, but sounds really great. And yeah, Hank Mobley, a fantastic player, and he actually, you have Lee Morgan on this too, Curtis Fuller, Hank Mobley playing the sax, McCoy Tyner, Bob Cranshaw, and Billy Higgins on drums. What a lineup! Shit, fantastic record, just a classic Blue Note record. And that was a good record. This is a shit record. Cannonball Adderley, I got bad, and that's ain't good. I bought this for $2 also from the Hash guy, and just took a chance on it. I couldn't even play the second side because it was so lousy. So I played almost the first side of this, just like, shit, it's bad. One of the worst jazz records I've ever heard in my life. And actually the only record I'm going to show you that I kept from my friend's father's collection up to this date, I'm going to show you that I played, is this one. And it gives you a little bit of a sense of what it is I'm keeping and why. This is the Moody Blues Days of Future Past, a reissue from late 70s maybe, something like that. This is worth maybe $3, $6 in this condition, because it's in near mint condition, like unplayed condition. So I mean, this is no grail at all, but to own this classic record, like dead classic record, so good, sounds great, in this condition, I mean, how can you say no? How can you let this go to anyone for like the $3 that we would get for it? So I already have like early pressings of all the Moody Blues, almost all the Moody Blues records, 60s and early 70s pressings of it, in okay condition, but I don't have a near mint. Even if it's a reissue, I definitely gonna keep that. So yeah, that's it. Sort of some stories, some records, you know, good times, long video. Have a great day. Bye.